Hi everyone, good morning and good evening. Welcome back to another episode of Dynamics 5 Expert Connect Session webinar. So we conduct webinars multiple times every week from DGC. So let me talk a little bit about DGC. So Dynamics 5 Global Community, we started 1 year back, December 2018 exactly, with the intention of creating a community for Dynamics 5 executives, consultants and partners to come together and then share the knowledge. Since then, we have been conducting webinars and meetups very regularly. When it's come to the webinars, we have been conducting it very religiously on every second and fourth Wednesday of the month. So tonight is the 22nd webinar in the series. So we had a lot of speakers who come here and then give us topics. We have multiple sessions we conducted on Microsoft Power Apps and Microsoft Power Platform. When it's come to tonight webinar, we have Sandeep Patil. He's a Dynamics 5 and Power Platform architect, and he's going to present on topic developing apps with the help of CDS and Power Platform, Power Apps, right? So I think he has planned to just conduct multiple sessions on the same topic. And when it's come to the activity that we do, like I mentioned, we conduct webinars on every second and fourth Wednesdays of the month, and every recording of every webinar will be hosted onto the YouTube channel of DGC. You can just access that. And also, we have been developing a website, the Dynamics Global DGC website. For YouTube channel, you can find all the recordings of all these webinars. And also, I request everyone to just subscribe us on LinkedIn channel of DGC as well. And also, we request and also we invite every expert. We are a group of, like I mentioned, we are a group of experts and enthusiasts who like to share their knowledge. So when it's come to the vision of DGC, it's all about just network and then you share your knowledge with others. So personally, I learn a lot from making a community like this. I learn from others and also I let others learn. So that way, DGC is growing very faster. And again, we are looking for people who can just be part of DGC. It's a voluntary work, of course, and then they can also present their topics and then share knowledge. So that's about DGC. That's about tonight's topic. And now over to you, Sandeep.
Hey, hello everyone. Good morning, good evening, based on your location. So today we'll be speaking about building apps with the Common Data Service, the CDS, and PowerApps. Uh, I think people have started realizing now or heard about the apps concept, which was released from Microsoft. So what basically are apps? So Microsoft has provided a platform to create custom applications. Uh, the applications can be hosted anywhere in mobile, desktop, or it can be accessed from any of the clients available out now. So requiring there is no coding or any experience you need. It's all configuration customization based. So you can develop for yourself and like achieve whatever requirements or internal needs which you have. And Microsoft has hosted more than 200 sources and 100 templates for you to get started and working on it. Um, Power Apps basically is the new platform in that, so which consists of basically two apps. One is the Canvas app and other is the model-driven apps. So at its core, like there are two types of apps you can always create. That's the Canvas app and the model-driven. So the difference between them and how they can impact your application, probably we can discuss that through the session. Even I'm planning to do a simple demo to all of you for this session on Canvas app as well as the model-driven app. I'm planning to conduct one more session on the same topic, but it will be little more complicated scenarios to cover the complicated scenarios. So basically, this is about all the app that Microsoft has provided. So let's start with the first app, which is the Canvas app. So within Power App, as you saw, Canvas app is a part of a Power App where you can design and build apps. Uh, so there are a couple of environments that you need to create before you're creating a Canvas app. Uh, this is the simplest app where you need not do much of coding. There are a simple set of like how you do macros kind of coding, like related to that, simple commands in this Canvas app, which you can just to align look and feel and how you want, like what data should be shown, what shouldn't be shown. So this is pretty simple. It's just all drag and drop interface, so you can add fields, remove fields, however you want. You can align based on your requirements. So as I spoke about the data sources in the beginning, so you can utilize either existing data source or you can create all from fresh. So it's all up to you. In CDS, you can create an entity uh, and you can hook up that entity to this Canvas app, and then you can just work through the app. So the Canvas app can be used on desktop or it can be used even on the mobile app. So as I told, Microsoft has 200 unique data source integration, which can connect to even one of our Dynamics 365 as a data source, CDS, SharePoint, Office 365, Salesforce, or name whatever data source it covers most of the data source. Even if there's nothing which you cannot connect to this data source, there's always an option of using custom connectors, which wherein you can build your and host your own services, and through that connector you can call your services. Um, but basically, when you're keeping in mind when you're developing Canvas app, it's just to be basic, simple user experience for them. So when you want to use Canvas app, so basically now if you see form filling out, you're using Access database, spreadsheets. So all these are some of the scenarios where you can use replace using Canvas app, and where you want to build a customized tailor experience, user experience, connect to a different multiple data source using a single app. And basically what I told was the simple focus scenarios where we have simple scenarios. You can use the Canvas app. Um, with this, probably I'll just go ahead and show the Canvas app demo. Later, I'll continue with the model-driven app. If you have questions, probably I would request you to post all your questions at the end of the session. Um, so just getting started with the demo piece of the Canvas app. Um, so everything starts with the make.powerapps.com. If you already, you can sign up for a trial license, which works for good for 30 days. After that, after 30 days, you can even convert it to production license. It's just if you don't want to pay a cost, you need to ensure you keep your data below 1 GB. If your data is 1 GB, then you can still keep all your apps, everything, and keep working on it. If you need more than that, then you end up paying and getting all these services. So as I spoke earlier, there is a Canvas app and the model-driven app. So let's first start with the Canvas app. You just click on the Canvas app. You can name demo. Let's probably use phone. This is tab format of how it should look, tablet and pixel. Basically, this just realigns the pixel and the UCI unified client interface. So it's aligned properly on the devices. Um, so this is provisioning now. It's creating an app by itself. Um, so it takes a couple of minutes to set up the app. Uh, So once the app is ready, you'll be presented with a default screen. Um, this is how our default screen looks for the Canvas app. So there is an app drawer here. There are screens. You can do multiple screens. So now I'll just, it's not visible. Let me zoom in. So let's first connect to a data source. So you can always connect to an existing data source, or you can use a new data source to connect. So I think already I have one of the connected here. You can always go here, see all connectors, and whatever connector you want, you can select and just connect. So this is how simple it is. You don't need to, it's just all plug and play. So You hit connect, it creates a connection for you in the app and it gets added over here. So for this instance, I've connected to CDS. So I'll use the accounts here. I'm just taking accounts um, as my example uh, for my demo. This is how you first establish your connection. And let's now go ahead and create a new screen. I'm thinking let's just build a list view first. So when you click a form, if you see now, it built a list view of this data source. Basically, I think I had something left over, so that's why you see most of the data being populated here. Um, so when you add the screen, you always have options to choose your data source, everything, either on this, or you can always go and see insert and go to your data connections. Or if you want to create any data table, you can create a data table here too. So once you're in this screen, um, for list view, basically, Microsoft has already given you option to refresh. So there are like, if you see commands where you can pass our functions, so this is to refresh, and this is to sort. So this is all predefined. You even need not write anything. On top of this, if you want to do anything, you can just make changes to your functions. So this is basically the list view. Go ahead and probably this is the already a given name. Save this. So just you can, this is just to test, so you can hit run. So you see a list of accounts that's already there. If there are any images, even those come through. You hit this just refreshes. If there's any change, if you hit this, you can see the sorting happening there. So sorting happens based on what sorting you have given. So you can always check like what kind of sorting you enable. So if you see here, this is the default sorting. It just does sorting based on the uh, name. So uh, basically, we can update this more. Yeah. So if you see here, example is the sample text. So that's using the sample text. Now this is the sample. Now let's go and I'll make this. So this is the custom gallery sample. Let's go to, let's go and rename uh, we don't want this dummy screen which was created. So let's rename this to something, draw screen one. Okay. Okay. So on this, when you see items, this is the sample that already Microsoft gave. So here, what I'll just do is, this is their template where they do it. We can change this to accounts. So if you see the data source, which we selected there, uh, you can use the accounts. Let's just validate the connection once. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So we have the accounts added here. So when you do type ahead here for accounts, that this will show you list of if you see accounts is available here. So once you add whatever entities you want, that will in your type head it will show if it's already there. So this is the text box like. So as I change the data source to accounts now, if you see now the data is being refreshed here real time. So this is just the search text box which we added, and that's the name field which we are using basically. Now just go ahead and save this. Um, so if you run this, I don't want to publish it as of now. minimize. So, yeah. So now I just updated a couple of settings for myself. So um, this is basically the list view. So if you just run off this, it will show you the list view of the records. So we can go ahead and build more on top of this, like creating new screens. So you can create so as you saw the navigations which we had, you can go ahead and create new records. You can build a simple form for them. It's up to you however you want to design it. It's based on your requirements too. So let's now come back to the presentation. Plus, yeah. So now let's move to the model-driven app. Um, so you saw about the Canvas app. It's all just plug and play. You just created, you connected, hooked up. It all even model-driven app is similar, but model-driven app has a structured way of designing things. As you saw how it was all drag and drop on Canvas app. In this model-driven app requires it's little complex business logic. So it can be run as a standalone app for itself, or it can be a Canvas app. You can hook it to Dynamics 365 again. Um, so again, Microsoft has a couple of data source if you want to connect to this. No matter whatever the source is, the app it runs basically on your data and the structure what you build on top of that. So if you're using any of your data sources, you can create apps that integrate directly with them. All of this which can be done using the third-party sources that are compatible with the connectors. um, so once you're basically done deciding what data source or connectors you use, um, even this in the model driven app, you don't need to write any code. Even that's all plug and play. But this has more um, detailed designing that you'll end up doing. This is the same model driven app is the same which is being used in Dynamics 365 um, platforms as well. If you go ahead and create a new app within Dynamics 365, it again create a model-driven app in the backend. So this is basically the app which Dynamics 365 uses. Again, it's driven by the data model and business process. The edge on the model-driven app when compared to Canvas app is you get dashboards, workflows, you can have forms. That's the deep integration which you get with the model-driven app. Um, so now, where basically will you use the model-driven app? So when you have more users basically on using your application, I think model-driven app is the best place to be in, where you have more data. You're very heavily dependent on your relationships within the data, and as I told previously, when you want to visualize complex business process or for charts, dashboards, um, so Microsoft standard dynamics solutions, the sales, customer service, marketing, field services. So these are a couple of scenarios where you want to use the model-driven app. So probably I'll just go to the demo piece of the model-driven app. I might be rushing through because of the time constraint, and I want to give some time for the Q&A. But as I told, we'll have one more session with the detailed one. So again, you'll be on the PowerApps screen. Instead of Canvas app, you start with the model-driven app. Just hit create. This creates a new app. So I'm just naming it, so you can use our default connection. Just go ahead and hit. So now if you remember, we use CDS accounts. Probably I'll end up using the same data source for this demo again. Um, so if you see the layout here, so when we're in Canvas app, you use the PowerApps layout. In model-driven app, again it's PowerApps, but if you see, you might, if any of you have worked on the Dynamics 365, you will feel similar look and feel how you configure on the Dynamics 365. So let's first just go ahead and configure the sitemap. Uh, in the new sub area, probably let's go. This is where you'll give your sitemap what you want. So first, let's select a type as entity. That's the one here, and let's probably select account. So that's the entity which we are using. You can go and hit like probably save and close. So once you selected the account, if you see a list view occurred here of the entity, uh, this is account entity. This gives you the account name. And probably let's start with dashboard. So if you see, this will show you out of the box dashboard that are available. So it's up to you to choose what dashboards you want to show to the users. So I'm not looking into the dashboards as of now. Let's go to the entity form. So in account, if you go to forms, you see there are like couple of forms that are available. You can always create one of your forms. For this demo purpose, let's say I'll just use the account form. And then let's go to the views. So you have seen there are a couple of list views. Um, let's just select maybe active accounts, all accounts, maybe inactive and my active accounts from the list view. Let's go to the chat piece. Maybe let's select only one of the charts. And dashboard is the account dashboard. So now you save your changes. I always suggest to validate because this will give you if there are any dependencies that you need to review. So this is a kind of review for you. If you want to review them, and then when you're done, you can just go and hit publish. So now we created the app. Now I'm publishing this app. So once your app is created, there are a couple of ways to access it. So let's start using this from here. So let's go to play from the app designer itself. So now you see the look and feel is completely different. This looks similar to the Dynamics 365 app. So if you see, we simply configured it to use accounts. So this app is only having accounts. There's nothing other than that. So you have your accounts. I think we use the account form. So that's why we are seeing the account form here. Uh, if you see the list views, I think we only selected 4 list views: inactive, all, active, my active. Accounts being followed is the social pain, so that it comes by default. So this is basically the model-driven app. So if you want to add more changes, you can again, as there's no sitemap, probably you'll just go in this add new sub area, and you may want to select any entity which you want to show here. Entity, let's see, let's select an contact entity, save and close. Again, now if you see here, contact entities available in the list view, entity list view. So go ahead and probably select your contact, list views. Maybe let's keep all the list views, all charts here. I'll go ahead and save this, publish. So your changes are published. Yeah, you can just refresh here. So yeah, so now if you see, you got the account screen here. So accounts and then contacts got added. So you can keep designing based on your requirements. In this case, we selected all the views. So you have all the views here. So this is about the model-driven apps. These are basic, simple scenarios which I've shown. Um, let's now, basically the biggest um, decision factor is like you have read about Canvas and model-driven apps. So you might feel like, okay, they sound the same. To an extent, they are the same. But that's not the whole picture. Um, because both have similar components in design, fundamental differences over the user control. So while creating a Canvas app, you have full control over every single aspect of the result. But when you create a model-driven app, you don't have full control over your app. In model-driven app, it's just the framework which is already available. You just choose what you want and what you don't want. If you see the layouts, everything was already available. So uh, if you want flexibility, then Canvas app is the way to go. Even model-driven app can do that. It's just if it's a simple, focused requirement you're looking into, then you should probably go towards the Canvas app. If in contracts like model-driven apps are more controlled by the data information you enter, and if you have a large user base, then probably if you need charts, dashboards, everything, then model-driven app is the basic path for you guys to make the decision about this. Um, Probably by this, I'll be ending up my quick overview on the apps and a sample demo of both the Canvas apps and the model-driven apps.
Thanks, Sandeep, for that wonderful session. It's really informative. Even
Mhm.
I learned something new today. Okay, so thanks for that. And then we are expecting more sections from you on Power Apps and Power Platform. And
Yeah, yeah,
when it's
sure.
come, yeah, thank you. And when it's come to DGC, we'll be just uploading all the what do you say, recording of our sessions into our YouTube channel. So you can just search for DGC, I mean Dynamics by Community. You can subscribe for the videos. Yeah, so including the very last session that we had from Mark, we have this, I mean, all the videos are uploaded over here. So I request everyone to just subscribe it so that you will be notified when a new recording is uploaded. And also, when it comes to LinkedIn, we have DGC pages there, the same name, Dynamics by Global Community. We have a group as well as the pages there, so you can subscribe there as well, so that you'll be notified about everything that we just uploaded. So that's it, guys, and thanks everyone for taking your time to join for the webinar today. And again, if anyone in the audience is interested to be part of DGC, to just share knowledge or to be to contribute, you are always welcome. So you can reach out to us through the website or the YouTube channel or through LinkedIn page. So I wish everyone a good day and good night.